This is the Horror Movie Show on hmpod.com, hosted by Jerry and Mark, your one-stop shop for all horrible movie reviews. From the latest blockbusters and independent films to classics, let Mark and Jerry convince you the world is a dangerous place, though often good for a laugh. Now come and listen to the Horror Movie Show, if you dare.
Hey there, folks. Jerry here.
And Mark.
Bringing you another episode of the Horror Movie Show on hmpod.com and Eli Roth's The Crypt, fearthecrypt.com, and also...
iTunes?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, keep those,
and all kinds of
keep
places.
those Apple people satiated.
Yes, we need to be satiated. So, what's new?
Gee, I've been picking a lot of raspberries lately.
All right.
There's different types of raspberries, right?
Certainly.
We used to have this big bramble bush in the back with all the thorny bits all over it. Very difficult to pick.
Now, are you talking blackberries?
No, I'm talking about raspberries.
Okay.
There's different types. Well, my dad got this new type that has very few prickles on it.
Yeah.
Only on the very...
We have a thornless raspberry.
And huge, bright red berries on them. Huge. The problem is that right now we're having an infestation of bugs in the soil that are eating the roots.
Damn, right.
The whole garden is being ravaged.
Ah, you know what'll cure that?
Paprika?
Boiling salt water.
That'll kill everything, including all the vegetables.
You have to get the yard a foot deep in boiling salted water. And keep it like that for a week.
Couple weeks. Yeah. That'll do it.
That'll cure it.
Anyhow, the garden's coming out quite nicely. It's almost blueberry season.
All right.
And we'll have a ton of blueberries.
There you go.
Looking for a lot of fruit smoothies in the next little while.
We gave up gardening because too many body parts.
Oh, really?
Yeah, previous owners, just let sleeping dogs or whatever the hell they are lie. That's what we figured.
Yeah. The other day I buried a bird in the garden.
Oh, was it dead?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's good. It's better.
Yes, I had to wait till it died.
Standing there beside
I couldn't get it in the hole otherwise.
Yeah. There you go. Turning into a Monty Python sketch. So it would have been fun a couple of weeks ago to be in London and see the Monty Python crew back in action. They're all in their 70s now, but of 6 surviving Pythons, along with Carol Cleveland, all performing at O2 in London.
Were they doing their old skits?
Oh, yes. But I mean, when you say old skits, they've got Meaning of Life, they've got the musical Spamalot and other stuff that Eric Idle has done.
Just played here recently.
Yeah, it's been touring Canada. They have an awful lot to draw on, but yes, from what I understand, they get the whole crowd on their feet singing, Always Look on the Bright Side.
Speaking of Spamalot, my son and his mother went to see it.
Did they like it?
And yeah, they had a great time, and my son kind of leaned over and asked his mom, they don't get people to come up on stage today because they were in the first row.
Oh, dear.
And she goes, no, they don't do that. Well, at the end of the show, they're looking for the Holy Grail, and they point at my son, you've got it.
Right.
And they run up to him, and they pull the Grail from under his seat.
Right.
And he got a certificate saying that he found the Grail and a Polaroid of them in the cast, of him in the cast.
There you go.
Which is really cool.
Yeah, no, I've never seen it. I wouldn't mind seeing it this time, but I was kind of against it when it first started, just as I was against Mel Brooks's musicalization of The Producers.
Right, which was
I love the original so
it was
much.
a play, and then it was a movie, and then it was a play again.
No, it was a movie.
Wasn't The Producers a play first? No, what am I thinking of then?
Death of a Salesman?
No, it was...
something by Shakespeare?
No.
I have no idea, Mark. You gave me a lot of specifics.
It was
there.
another Mel
What was
Brooks,
I thinking of?
Another Mel Brooks thing that...
Frog in a Blender? I don't know.
No, what was The Producers?
No, the Producers he wrote as a movie back in the mid-'60s, and it was a movie with Zero Mostel.
Yeah, I know that, but I always thought it was stemmed from a play.
No, it's about putting on a musical.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I think that's where your confusion lies. It's a movie about putting on a play, and then they made a musical based on the movie about putting on a play, and then they made a movie.
Oh,
the musical.
Yeah, okay, it was a movie, then a play, then another. A musical. Okay,
yeah.
Yes, I got it the wrong way.
Yeah. Yes,
Okay.
It did eventually wind up on stage. So let's talk about some vaguely science fiction-y horror movies, shall we?
Sure.
Okay, that's what we're here for, really.
Why not?
Why not? Edge of Tomorrow, a 2014 big-budget movie directed by Doug Liman, written by Christopher McQuarrie and Jez Butterworth. That's a great name. It stars Tom Cruise as Cage, Emily Blunt as Rita, Brendan Gleeson in the unrewarding role of General Brigham, Bill Paxton as Master Sergeant Farrell.
Oh, he does a great job.
Yeah, he's always fun, isn't he?
Yeah, he really...
We're gonna die, man!
No, but in this, he just plays that character, that Southern drill sergeant kind of guy.
Just one evil mofo.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's evil because that's what he has to be to do his job.
His job, yeah. He gets confused sometimes, but as the movie goes on, Tom Cruise is just hitting him with these zingers, and he can't figure out how he's doing it.
He's out of his depth.
Yeah.
Poor Sergeant.
But he starts off in control. And then loses it.
Yes, he does very quickly. The movie is about Tom Cruise's character, Cage, and he's like a rather cowardly PR dude working for the army. The entire world is in a war against these aliens, and the aliens are doing very well. And the general, who decides that he's going to force Tom Cruise's little PR nerd into the actual battle, gets Cruise killed the very first day. But as he's killed, he is drenched in the feculent juices of one of the second-tier aliens, which gives him the ability that every time he dies, that day begins again. So it's sort of Groundhog Day with a science fiction twist.
Yeah, I was wondering how they were going to do this, because you see the trailers, and right away you're thinking Groundhog Day.
Right.
You know, you're thinking, okay, he's going to repeat this thing till what?
Yeah. Well, until he defeats the aliens.
And I thought that the way they showed it happening and why, all the rationale, it was pretty good.
It was all right, yeah.
And the reason why these bug or whatever creatures, I don't know what they are, they're sort of octopus.
Yeah, crabby
kind of things.
Yeah.
And the reason why they were so effective against the Earth is the fact that they could jump back in time.
So if they get defeated, they start over. And
1 in 10 million of these bugs has the ability to have everything slip back 24 hours. And when Tom Cruise accidentally kills this thing and gets drenched in its ooziness, he becomes the focal point of this reoccurrence of time. I just said all that. Yeah. Now, the thing I liked about it is someone else had done it previously. The
Rita,
Emily Blunt character. And you hear about her.
Right.
She's that super soldier, supreme bitch, with a gun. And she didn't know anything about war. And she put on one of these exoskeleton suits and became a super warrior in one day.
Yeah.
So they said, this suit is so easy to use that anyone can wear these things and become a super soldier.
Yeah. And what they don't realize is that she, in fact, lived that day over and over
again and became super soldier over a long time.
And we see that process with the Tom Cruise character. We see him, and because she had this ability before she believes him, and she starts training him, and each time that he fails, she just puts him out of
his misery
or her misery, and bang, starts the day again. What happened to her is that she was injured in one of her repetitions, and they gave her a blood transfusion, and that watered it down,
and she survived.
Broke the spell. So now she's out of the loop, literally, and Tom Cruise is controlling it.
Right.
But at some point, no, I don't want to say anything more. But a similar situation happens with Tom, and it's like all bets are off. But I thought, as far as sort of time travel gimmick, I thought this one was fairly well done. This movie held my interest from beginning to end.
Well, it was nice that they repeated the first day a couple times in different iterations.
Yeah.
But then after a while, you get to the point where a lot of time has passed by, and they don't bother with the little things.
Yeah.
They don't.
Yeah.
They show you where he's progressing to. They learn things as they go, and they find out ways of doing things effectively.
Right.
And at the same time, they're trying to find out new information, how to gain that information. Every time he learns something new, he doesn't have to go do that thing again.
Right.
He can go on a different direction.
Right.
So you end up with a whole bunch of the different cast members of of his platoon, so to speak, and he's trying to get them to do things for him, and yet it's all done in a 24-hour period. So it's he has to hit each mark perfectly to convince people of the right thing to do.
Well, it is so like Groundhog Day in that what constitutes the perfect day. And by the time he gets to the point where he has to live the perfect day and defeat the...
There is no going back, though. It's at that point, it's a do or die, literally.
So it's well done. Don't see an awful lot of big budget movies these days. I'm mostly watching the independent horror movies.
Right.
But, I enjoyed this one. I didn't feel it was money wasted. I thought the effects were terrific.
Yeah.
It looks quite a bit like Starship Troopers.
Yeah.
With, of course, a nice nod to the Space Marines and Aliens, especially with Bill Paxton being the sergeant. It's nice as they fly into the battle. All these soldiers are hanging in midair, and they're going to be lowered by high-speed winches to the ground, and the ship gets hit. And each time the ship gets hit, and Tom tries at first, hey, look out, the ship's going to be hit, and bang, it gets hit, to, oh, well.
And the one guy that gets crushed by that flipping ship, and sometimes he tries to save him, and then after a while he's going, well, he's going to die.
It doesn't matter.
He doesn't.
It's irrelevant.
Saving him isn't going to do anything to better my situation.
And you can see the focus of Cruise's character expanding to where at first he's trying to right these small wrongs, like his fellow soldiers getting squished or shot, and he's trying to save everybody. And then his vision expands, and he sees a bigger and bigger and bigger picture until they simply don't matter, and it sounds heartless. And it takes a lot of doing for him to reach the point where he can ignore their horrible death.
It's like a game of chess. In that you can say, I don't need you today. I'm going to be concentrating on this task.
Well, that's what I mean. His vision expands until he sees the whole battle.
Once he sees the whole battle, then he realizes, okay, I can use these people here, these people here, these people there, and I can save them if I do the right thing.
Now, what do you think of this Emily Blunt? Because she seems to be all that and a bag of chips, but she's a mouth breather, and she's the most unpleasant looking attractive woman I've seen in a long time. She just looks angry and pissed off all the time. She looks like she wants to spit in your eye.
Well, that's because she's been through hell, and she's a
the actress herself, she's got these dead eyes. She's got these unpleasant dead eyes, and she just always looks angry.
I like her.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, you like the angry women anyway.
Yeah, I guess that's it.
Brendan Gleeson
treat me bad.
Yeah, really. Kick me, whip me, beat me, call me mucky names. Brendan Gleeson, the great old Irish actor, he's very funny in this movie, playing
the general.
When Tom Cruise's character comes back after living who knows how many lives and tells him what he needs and what he wants. And the general has to just sort of sit there and take it. Takes it for a little while. He doesn't take it entirely.
What I don't understand...
I thought that was a very, very funny scene.
It was a good scene, but the fact that he says that we've been through this a long time and I have yet to ever convince you.
Right.
And I'm going, well, what's so difficult about convincing?
Right.
Because he's
just a pig-headed guy.
Tom Cruise is telling him things that he shouldn't know how.
Right.
And he's telling him all these things that are going to happen, and they happen in a couple seconds later and stuff like that. At that point, you would think that the guy would become a believer of some sort.
Well, when we see him, that last time, when Cruise is after a specific
that was one of the major
machine,
flaws.
When he's there to get that little machine that the general has never given him before, he gets far enough that the general does give him the machine. And they leave the office, and it's then that the general changes his mind again. But
that's the flaw that I found.
Why? What's the flaw?
You hand him that machine. What does he do? He goes out of the room, he goes into a car, and then jabs himself with it. Why didn't he just jab himself with it right in the general's office?
Well, he'd have another chance if he needed to.
Yeah, why didn't he do it right there instead of going down to the car and then saying, okay, I know where the thing is.
Right.
Go here.
Right.
You have to do this.
Because he's a showboater. at that point.
It just made no sense to me.
I know what you mean. But they wanted to get away and be safe and have their own little time to do that, I guess. Sure, there's things that bother me, but that scene, more than any other, is played for laughs in this movie. Mm-hmm. Although Tom Cruise getting shot like every 5 seconds to restart the game. Yeah. That was also pretty funny.
Yeah, it's like he sprains his ankle and the girl just says,
"Game
okay,
over.
Game over." Bang.
No, wait. Bang.
It's like, let's not waste any time.
Well, she's not going to waste her time. She'll go back to reset.
They could have renamed this to Reset.
Yeah. You know? Right. It is. Cruise
Edge of Tomorrow means nothing.
No, it doesn't. Cruise showed up on to plug the movie on Jon Stewart's Daily Show, and Stewart revealed again what a gamer he is. Stewart is, and he said that to him, this movie got the feeling of a game across.
I felt that way too at the beginning, at the very beginning.
Because you do that. You just like, oh, this is hopeless, and sometimes you take yourself out.
Exactly.
Just so you can restart that level.
You realize that there are things you have to do, and once you can't achieve it, you say, okay, kill me.
Yeah.
Let's do it again.
Yeah. Frag yourself, whatever. Now, we got another movie, and it's another biggie. I'll be interested what Mark has to say about it. The Amazing Spider-Man 2. 2014 version, directed by Mark Webb, written by Alex Kurtzman, Roberto Orci, and Jeff Pinkner. Stars Andrew Garfield as Peter Parker and Spider-Man, Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy, Jamie Foxx as Max Dillon, who becomes Electro, Dane DeHaan as Harry Osborn, who becomes Green Goblin, Colm Fiore as Donald Mencken, Sally Field as Grizzled Aunt May, Paul Giamatti as Alexei Sitsevich.
I didn't recognize him.
Oh, I thought he was funny in it. Embeth Davidtz as Peter Parker's mother Mary, and Campbell Scott as Peter's dad Richard Parker, yes. Yeah. So, a real family affair, this movie.
Now, if you read the comics, you know what's going to happen to Gwen.
Yeah, she's going to die, right?
Yeah,
they pretty much say that in the commercials.
I think this movie was way too much like a comic. It just...
Really? That seems an odd thing to criticize a comic book movie for.
Yeah, usually they try to get a little more dramatic, but I thought that this movie portrayed Peter Parker as being, or Spider-Man as being a little bit too childish.
Uh-huh.
Even though he's funny in the comic.
Right.
He was sort of Mr. Whiny,
was kind of whiny,
hissy kind of guy, all emotional, all over the place. I love you. I have to be away from you. Go away. I love you. Right. Go away. He grated on my nerve.
What you said, it reminded me of the third Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie, where I thought he was extremely petulant and acted like a brat in the third one. And there was that evil Spider-Man sliming around, all black and that.
The Venom.
Yeah, and I just thought, it's too similar to the
whole thing with his friend and the Green Goblin. Harry just kind of like was a side story, then all of a sudden it's in there.
Yeah. But was that supposed to be like a continuation from the first three Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies?
I don't know.
Where's he coming from? And where's his dad?
Out of the blue, they kind of just threw that storyline in there.
That's how it felt to me as well. Yeah.
Yeah. The way the Spider-Man was in this movie, I mean, all the nice things about his character in the first movie just started to bug me in the second movie.
Right.
I don't know. Everything he did just bugged me.
Oh, wow. Mark is not a fan. Was there anything about it you liked?
Not really. Electro was kind of weird.
Yeah, Jamie Foxx plays him like not to misuse the term, but sort of as an autistic nut job.
Yeah.
He's all twitchy and muttering and weird. And he's working for Oscorp.
I think everything...
He's kind of a freak all
everything
the way through.
Bad comes out of Oscorp.
Yeah, it's not a good company.
And Harry's father dies and then leaves him this corporation and as well as this cube with all this information in it.
Yeah. And
so quickly he turns against Spider-Man because now Harry's dying and he wants his blood.
Right.
Give me your blood.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I've read other reviews saying that it was all over the place, and I agree. It was all over the place.
And the special effects and so on, absolutely nothing stands out.
No.
There wasn't anything I hadn't seen done before and better.
Yeah.
And it's just like mediocrity from beginning to end.
Yeah.
don't understand why they even bothered to put this out.
I think they should really simplify special effects a bit. Too much is not a good thing.
No.
It's like the Transformer movies. Right. After a while, you just go, or the Superman movie, the Man of Steel. The last 45 minutes of that movie was just one big special effect. Right. I mean, after a while, you just go, what? Come on. Yeah. Give us some storyline here.
Here's some acting.
Yeah. I don't know. I just was underwhelmed by this movie. Yeah. And I was hoping for better things because I really liked the two leads in the movie.
Right.
In the first movie.
Right.
But they didn't do anything with those characters. They just kind of like...
No, and I agree. Emma Stone's character is more interesting than anybody else in this movie, and she's not well used. I also just think she's the most likable person in this movie.
Well, as a character, as a person, she seems to be really likable.
Yeah, she does, doesn't she?
Yeah, that wholesome girl, you know?
Oh, yeah, she's a...
Through the whole movie, she's sitting there saying, it's my decisions to be with you.
Right.
My decisions to get into trouble with you.
Right.
You can't stop me from following you and things like that. And to her detriment, it basically comes at her.
Yeah.
And the way she dies is so anticlimactic kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's not like she sacrificed herself.
No, it's just...
She was just in the wrong place, wrong time.
Kind of stupid, yeah. All right, well... That sums up Amazing Spider-Man 2. Let's get on to something a little more horrific, a little more traditionally horrific. Nosferatu the Vampyre.
Oh, this is the first time I've ever seen this movie.
I had not watched the entire thing.
1979, is it?
1979, written and directed by one of my favorite directors, Werner Herzog. Great German director. It stars the great German character actor Klaus Kinski as Count Dracula. Lovely French actress Isabella Gianni as Lucy Harker. Bruno Ganz, another German actor, as Jonathan Harker. Roland Topor doing a hilarious job playing Renfield.
Oh my God!
Laughing.
He was insane.
He is really good, insane Renfield. Walter Ladengast as Dr. Van Helsing. Now, just a couple of observations from me. Klaus Kinski's Count Dracula, very otherworldly. It does go back to the Max Schreck version of Nosferatu, all the way back to like 1922, whatever that silent movie is.
Right.
Played so well by Willem Dafoe in, was it Silence of the Vampire?
Something like that.
Yeah, Kiss of the Vampire. Anyway, Klaus Kinski manages to seem inhuman, and yet a little mystified, a little sad at the situation he finds himself in. Like he's more complicated than simply being a monster.
Right.
He's almost a regretful monster. He's sorry that he's this way, but it's a fact. Kind of a German attitude, I think. Isabella Gianni is lovely playing Lucy, but they've taken the secondary characters from the Dracula novel and made them the primary characters. Lucy was the friend of Mina, who is the main girl in the novel. Dracula novel. Yeah,
I've never read the novels.
Yeah, well, just consider the Francis Ford Coppola movie. Mina is the main woman.
Yeah,
not Lucy. Lucy is her pal whose head gets cut off.
I found this movie like an art movie.
It is, very much,
It's just every scene is so meticulously done and beautifully arranged that you just sit there and it's like watching a piece of art.
It's like opera.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
It is gorgeous, and it's gorgeous black and white. Well,
no, it's colored, but it's very dark.
Very moody colors, and it's the red is about the most bright color in the whole palette. Yeah. I just found it fascinating, the different characters. It's a real weird movie.
Yeah, well, the takes on the characters...
It's a very European
It is.
movie.
It's very, very pessimistic view, I would say, of the Dracula legend. And hence, more realistic.
But I just thought it was funny because everybody knows the history of this guy, and they treat him like a normal guy.
Yeah.
It's like the realtors will go see him and try to sell him a house.
Yeah.
And even though...
His money is human.
And those scenes where he's... all of a sudden in their bedroom chambers. Right. And you notice they never seem to have any pajamas. They're always dressed in their normal clothes in bed.
Right.
And he'd show up and it's like, hey. He puts on this stance and and he slowly creeps up to them and they just kind of go, whoa, and they don't run, they don't do anything, they just let them creep up. And then you never see the attack.
Of his mind.
You never see the attack on screen. Okay, there's a couple biting scenes, but they're done so slowly.
Yeah, I know.
They're not ferocious.
No, but that's the kind of monster that he's playing. This almost apologetic. He's not like an American Werewolf in London where he's going to rip your throat out. He's like, excuse me, but I have to bite you.
It's not his canines that are long. It's the two front teeth that are
odd look.
Yeah. The two front teeth that are long. And so that the bite is very close to one another. Yeah, two little punctures.
Yeah, some nice effects too with mist and rats and stuff like that.
All those rats they got. They're just thousands of rats all over the place.
Very nice.
And everybody's kind of like ignoring them.
Yeah. Well, at the same time, the plague is going on, which of course was brought by rats.
Yeah.
So, it's just one weirdness after another. And of course, no CGI.
No.
Those rats are really being wrangled by
and they're just walking amongst them.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, are they stepping on these rats?
I know.
Because they're walking up the stairs and there's hundreds and hundreds of them on the steps.
Of rats,
That whole scene with the dinner outside, the Last Supper.
Right.
These people just ignoring all the rats, all running, scurrying all over the table everywhere.
Yeah.
And they're having this dinner.
Yeah. Well, I like the fact that the changes to the characters are subtle, but very definite. Van Helsing is useless.
Yes.
Like he's just like this foolish old man.
He's like an old doctor that really doesn't know anything.
No.
He just happens to be around.
Yeah.
Happens to be the doctor of this guy that's gotten bit. And he's coming around to see how he's doing. Yeah,
Bruno Gans good because he's becoming a vampire and, becoming light sensitive and so on. But at the same time, he's also like, what the hell's wrong with me? Why do I feel like that? Everybody is mystified by what's going on. Nobody knows for sure what the hell is happening to them. And that is a nice change from, say, Coppola's version of Bram Stoker's Dracula, where you get the Van Helsing character. He's got all the answers.
Yeah.
He can tell you anything you want to know. He knows how to defeat this creature. He knows everything.
Yeah.
Whereas in this movie, Van Helsing is this doddering old fool, and he's like, I don't know. What the hell are we supposed to do? It's just like supernatural stuff. So it's cleverly done that way. Because it brings it down to a level of reality, and at the same time, it is fantastic. It is horrific and weird, and that is how people would react. How the hell do you fight something like that?
But it's shot like it was shot in the 30s or something like that.
Right.
This is a 79 movie.
Yeah.
Yet it seems to be like a black and white soundless movie.
Well, it is very much remake of Nosferatu, not the very first vampire movie ever made, but one of the first vampire movies ever made, the famous one with Max Schreck, and certainly Kinski's makeup is very much based on that earlier version with the nasty little pointed rat teeth. And
I think
the weird sort of fan-shaped
he was more rat-like than bat-like.
Yes, yeah. Well, he has power over both. Yeah.
And then the fact that every once in a while you saw a bat flailing around on a curtain, something like that. Yeah. It's like, and you can tell that footage is completely different grain, different exposure than anything else in the movie.
Yeah. We're gonna have to do a show just about Werner Herzog because he's got some terrific movies. Really, one of my favorite directors. And
now,
still making great movies.
Oh, really?
Today.
Is he? Yeah. It didn't look like they dubbed in the voices. I think they were speaking English.
Kinski could speak English, certainly. Ajani can speak English. Bruno Gans can, and they can always do it phonetically, if not word for word.
Yeah. And Lord knows there wasn't a lot of dialogue.
No. As you say, it is that close to already being a silent movie.
Yeah.
They rely on a lot on atmosphere. But it works.
It does.
It's a beautiful
movie. Slow.
Yeah. Without being dull, it is slow, but it takes its time.
I think the reason why they can pull it off is because it looks so good.
Yeah.
It's like watching a picture come to life.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautifully shot, beautifully positioned. I mean, it just wonderful to just view. And
glad you liked it.
If you're looking for a real slasher horror kind of Dracula movie, this isn't it.
Heck no.
This is anything but.
No.
It's really a study of people.
And it takes away, it's nice to see one that takes away a lot of the sparkly, good-looking nonsense. How could a girl not fall for Nosferatu?
Yeah.
Pretty easy in this movie.
Yeah.
He's hideous.
Yeah. Now, I didn't understand why he was moving.
Right.
Why was he buying a house?
It was the girl. He saw a picture of Lucy, and it's like, back to... But we don't get the background info on him, so he's a little bit of a mystery to us.
Yeah.
And as I say, I think he's a mystery to himself. I don't think he knows why the hell he's doing anything. But it's a simplified version of the original Bram Stoker Dracula novel.
Yeah, I like...
It was wonderful that by the time the ship gets to London, everybody has been eaten.
Yeah.
They've either been thrown overboard, had their necks broken, or been sucked dry.
Yeah, the last person on the boat is the captain who has been tied to the wheel of the ship.
And it's just rats running everywhere because that is Dracula.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. That's great. And as we said, the guy who plays Renfield, he never stops laughing. Roland Topor is
He plays the boss of the real estate agent.
Yes. Yeah.
He's going halfway across Europe just to sell a house.
Yeah, to the dark side of the Balkans.
To Transylvania. And he says, oh, well, you'll make a lot of money if you just sell one house to him.
But also that he can't stop giggling.
Yeah.
All the time as he's sending poor
But he gets
Bruno
worse
Gans.
and worse as it goes.
No, he's
he
totally
starts off
insane.
with a slight giggle and goes to the complete madness by the end of the movie.
It's wonderful. Eating all the bugs, talking happily, rubbing his hands and licking his lips.
So why did he go
all
insane?
The bugs. He's under the mental control of Dracula.
Is that it?
Yeah.
From all the way across to
the
pond, so to speak?
He's Dracula's...
Because they come to London, right? Or where is it they live? I'm not
I think
quite
it's
sure.
set in London.
Is
but,
it?
Does it matter?
Because they do take a boat to get there.
Yes, probably through the Med. You'd get as far as Turkey or something. And then
because it takes them like 2 months or 3 months to get to the place.
Can't really judge how long.
And I like the way he's
takes.
trotting along on this horse.
Yeah.
It's like to get there. Yeah. And he's trotting back on the horse while the guy's on the boat.
On the boat, yes, he's racing to get there to save Lucy. Oh no, they've taken great liberties with the original Dracula story, but they did as well with the original Nosferatu, and this really is a cinematic love note to the original silent movie.
Yeah,
Werner Herzog is an intellectual filmmaker. He makes smart movies. Although he's made all kinds, he's made documentaries, he's made action movies. But probably my favorite movies of his are the very, very thoughtful ones. Hey, we'll talk about more of those later. Let's get to one more movie here. It's called Mum and Dad, an English movie from 2008, written and directed by Stephen Scheel. It stars Olga Fedori as Lena, Ainsley Howard as Birdie, Toby Alexander as Elby, Perry Benson as Dad, and Dido Miles as Mum. And Claire Dyer plays the female torso. Who's not quite dead.
Not quite dead yet.
So this movie is about a young woman, Lena, played by Olga Fedori, who is working a crap job.
At the airport.
Cleaning up at the airport.
Yeah.
And she is befriended by Ainsley Howard's character, Birdie, a young woman who talks way too much. But
Cockney?
Yeah.
She has a very thick accent.
Yeah, it's London anyway. Yeah, sort of lower class, I'd say. And she's yapping away a mile a minute, but she's bright and she's helping pass
This is modern day, too.
And she's willing to take on the literally crappier job in the toilets. So
you kind of wonder what happened in that toilet, though.
Yeah, it's horrible, isn't it? So Lena, because of Birdie and her brother Elby, played by Toby Alexander,
who does not talk,
who never talks, the two of them hold up Lena so she misses her bus. And it's a small thing, but the girl, Birdie, says, well, come with us, we'll go to Mum and Dad's, and you'll get a ride from there.
Yeah.
So they cross the fields, they cross the runways.
They literally live next to the airport.
Yeah, like
right under the runway.
Yeah, right next to the end of the runway is this tiny little ramshackle house. And this is where Mum and Dad and Birdie and Elby live. And Lena is turns out, going to be their new sister.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
She gets injected. She wakes up, tied up, and some sort of surgery or a cut on her vocal.
It's the injection. It goes into her neck, screws up her larynx so she can't talk.
Yeah.
So she can't yell, she can't call for help, and they keep her tied up or hobbled so she can't run away.
Now, Mum is the one that wanted the new daughter.
She's scary.
Yeah.
Well, Mum and Dad are both very scary.
Mum seems to be the friendlier of the two. Dad seems to be a little schizoid.
Dad is a drunken maniac
who loves to cut up people.
Yes,
and make love to their insides.
That's right. That's
meaty parts.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, first thing Mum does is she says, "I'll take care of you. Don't worry, you're safe."
Right.
And she proceeds to cut all these designs in her skin.
Yeah.
on her back.
Yeah.
And on her, was it her face?
I don't think her face gets cut up.
She got her shoulders in the back.
Yeah, she's into scarification.
Yeah.
Because Birdie's got cuts all over her body as well.
Yeah. And Birdie's getting jealous.
Yeah, Birdie is a little freak her own self.
Yeah.
She didn't just help trap poor Lena, but now she's upset that Lena is getting attention from Mum and Dad.
Yeah.
And she starts getting Lena into trouble. She starts blaming her for stuff.
Yes.
She's hiding things and then blaming Lena.
Now, Lena is at first horrified.
Yeah.
And then she's trying to figure a way out.
She starts to try and get smart and play the game so that they'll let down their defenses and she can maybe run.
She tries to get away at one point and they catch her in the act. And she pays the price for it. She is tortured. She is told that if she tries it again, that's it.
It's a very brutal movie.
So she's in despair for a while.
Yeah.
And she can't figure it out. And you can see this movie is all about Lena.
Yes.
Her journey from terror to hoping to escape to misery to hardening.
Also, there's the sort of Stockholm syndrome, which seems to come in early on. Like, she does seem to be playing the game, and we don't know if it's just to win their trust or because she's really like, this is my best option is to be part of the family.
But it gets to the point once she's been tortured and she goes through her misery, she hardens.
Yeah.
She comes to a realization. If she's going to get out of here, she's going to have to kill these people.
She knows that.
She knows that she's going to have to go across the line that she never wanted to cross.
No.
And that's basically where this movie goes. And it's thrilling, it's psychologically draining, but really well done. Really like this movie for what it is.
Yeah.
It's not something that you can say I enjoyed.
No.
But at the same time, it was fascinating.
Yeah, yeah. I heard about it online, one of the Facebook horror pages, and it sounded intriguing to me. And I'm kind of an Anglophile anyway. I'm a sucker for... it just seems to me that the English stories, the British stories, I should say, because Irish and Scots as well, they just have a little more substance to them. Perhaps they're better written. I find them usually interesting, and I certainly found this interesting. And I'd never heard of it before. Well, I don't think many North Americans had seen it before.
I think it's because the European audience is different than American audience.
Yeah,
and American audience really make demands of how movies are made in America.
I think they want them simple.
And I also think that the producers of the American movies are out for the big buck. They're not out to make art.
Right.
Whereas I think that's slightly different in Europe. I think
Europeans, just the standard is a little higher in Europe as far as
they want to make money, but
acceptable.
I'm sure too, but at the same time, not at the cost of selling out.
Right.
And I find that their characters, like you said, their movies are more character-driven and they're more fascinating. They're more real than in American movies.
Right.
Now, I can't say all American movies, of course not. But the majority of blockbusters is just fluff.
Yeah.
compared to what they do in Europe.
Yes.
This is one of those movies where it's not a big movie.
No.
You can't even say it's a small budget movie because a lot of movies are made like this in Europe.
Yep.
But it's fascinating
movie. Good. I'm glad you liked it.
Like I said, I mean, you can just see this transition of this woman, this young woman, to the point where you know what's going to happen, and you know what's going through her brain.
It's her or them, and that's, as you say, that's the line in the sand that she has to cross.
Yeah.
And she sure as hell doesn't want to, but on the other hand, you can't blame her that she has reached that point.
She sees things. Yeah. They have a Christmas party.
And it's such a horrible parody of real life.
Yeah.
Of family life.
Yeah, here they are, and they bring out their Jesus.
Yeah.
And what is Jesus? It's a real person that's nailed, that's been crucified. And he's not dead.
Yeah.
He's still alive.
No.
He's crucified above the mantle.
Yeah. Well, at least parts of him.
And so she can see what they're doing to other people.
Yeah.
Lena knows that
they've got to be stopped.
Lena knows that she can become one of these people very easily.
Right.
So she only has one course of action.
Yeah. Good. Well, I'm really glad you liked it as much as I did. Okay, we're going to talk about one more movie, and this is another recent movie, 2013, The Returned. Directed by Manuel Carballo, written by Hatem Krejci, no idea how that's pronounced. Stars Emily Hampshire as Kate, Chris Holden Reed as Alex, Sean Doyle as Jacob, Claudia Bassols as Amber, and Melina Matthews as Eve. This movie, it takes place after a zombie outbreak, a terrible zombie outbreak. There's much bitterness and anger afterwards, as there would be. But a cure is found, and every 36 hours, the zombies just have to give themselves an injection or get a loved one to give them an injection, and that keeps them normal, and they look normal, everything is fine. So our main characters are Kate and Alex, and Kate is a doctor working on the problem, and she is knowledgeable enough, she's in the loop enough that she knows that they are running out of serum.
Yeah.
And there's only going to be a couple of things they can do when all these infected start reverting. And that is either kill all the infected or face another monstrous outrage. Yeah. And then her boyfriend Alex is an artist, and he's one of the returned.
Yeah.
But he's been keeping it secret. The two of them are stockpiling the serum against the day when it's no longer available.
Right.
And they have a pair of friends, and the two guys have been friends since childhood, and they want to be honest with them and get their help if need be.
Yeah.
So they tell them that he, in fact, is a returned, and it's a big secret, and so on. Well, that was a mistake. They should have kept their confidence.
Yeah. Did you see that coming?
I have to say, no, I was pleasantly surprised by several of the twists in this movie.
Yeah.
No, I thought it was very well done. I thought it was very competently done.
This is very much like the mini-series that we just watched in Living Flesh, or whatever it was.
In the Flesh?
In the Flesh.
I didn't bring my notes.
Again, it's...
we'll be talking about them soon.
Yeah. It's exactly the same thing. They've developed some sort of serum.
Right.
And they're returning these people back to their families, and it's all about this little town, that how they're dealing with the rotters, as they call them.
Yeah, in the TV series they call them rotters, which is like the equivalent to the N-word.
Yeah, and the thing is that they do look like zombies. They have, their eyes are weird, and their skin is pale white, and they are dead. They are dead. They cannot be killed unless brains are scattered.
Typical zombie stuff.
And so they put makeup on and
wigs
and things like that to make themselves look right. Anyway, this movie reminded very much of the miniseries.
Right.
In this case,
the idea. I mean, the survivors. How angry would they be with those who had been the zombies?
Yeah.
Of course they would be. How do you...
Which is why you tend not to tell people that
you
were what? You were a zombie!
Yeah.
The reason why they're having a scarcity of serum is the fact that they need to make it out of other zombies that were dead. or died, they needed some sort of marrow from them in order to create the serum. And as time goes on, less and less zombies are around to get this marrow from, and therefore they're not getting the serum.
Yeah. So it's catch-22. In order to get more serum, you have to have more
there's this
zombies.
race by the government to create a synthetic serum.
Right.
And they're very close.
Yeah.
They keep saying, it could be any day now.
Yeah, yeah.
And so not to worry. We have enough serum for the next little while.
Right.
And we're on the verge of doing it.
But they're lying.
Yes and no.
The government is definitely putting the best face on it, but she knows the truth, and that is that they're
but at the end of the movie, they do make the serum.
Do they? Yeah.
Yes, they do.
Okay.
So they are very, very close.
Right.
They just don't know when.
Yeah. No, what I meant was they're lying about how much
serum they have.
Reserves are.
Yeah.
I mean, they're practically out.
Yes.
But they're lying about that.
So they start collecting all the zombies. Mm-hmm. Just as a precaution. Mm-hmm. They're not telling them where they're taking them. They're just...
Yeah.
And so this artist and the doctor are hiding from the law. And they're hiding out at a country house of their friends. And so they can see what's happening on TV.
Right.
So they're quite aware that they can't come forward and say, "Yeah, I'm here."
Yeah.
They know that they have to hide.
Yeah, it's like martial law.
It's really a thriller of what's going to happen to this one guy.
Sure.
Is he going to make it? Isn't he going to make it? And the tragedy happening all around them.
Mm.
I liked the movie. Again, it's a slower type movie.
Yeah. Little movie, independent.
Was it American?
I believe so.
Yeah. For some reason I want to think British.
Yeah.
When I see a good movie, I don't want to... It's so rare that you see small, good movies. Mm. It's well worth watching.
It is. Yeah. No, I liked it too. Let's just run through the movies and see what we thought of them. Edge of Tomorrow, the new Tom Cruise movie.
I think it's one of his better movies to date, in fact.
Yep. Good movie.
Lots of special effects, but also very thoughtful.
Yes, and a nice sense of humor about its time loop conceit.
There's nothing in that movie that you won't like.
Oh, not that big a fan of Emily Blunt.
I like Emily.
Mean-looking mouth breather.
So are you.
Not that mean-looking.
Yeah, you are.
No, she's better looking.
Yes, she is. Yeah. She's definitely better looking.
She has dead eyes. 2014, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. No, don't go see that.
Video. Yeah,
I
DVD.
wouldn't even bother with...
If you want to see the end of the two-parter, it is a two-parter kind of with the first movie. You got to know what happens to Gwen.
Yeah. Okay.
So, it could have been mediocre. It could have been so much better.
Yeah. Best movie of the show, Nosferatu the Vampyre, 1979. I think it's the best one.
You do?
Yeah.
I think it's an art movie. That's what I consider it as an art movie.
That's good. Art is good.
Yes.
Yeah. 2008, Mum and Dad. Weird little English unpleasantness.
Yes.
True video nasty.
It is nasty, but it could have been a lot nastier.
Oh, it could have, and all the violence is necessary because they're painting a story.
Yeah, a lot of the violence and a lot of the grossness is off screen, and sometimes you kind of wander through it, but you don't see a lot of the violence that is happening.
No,
you're aware that it is happening.
There is violence going on constantly, but it's the
Mom and Dad.
It's the characters that are
Mom
interesting.
and Dad are just wonderful.
Yeah, Dad's a real peach. And finally, last year's The Returned. Yeah, I think Mark and I both liked that one too.
Yep.
Okay. So that's it. I'm going to say so long. So